Good afternoon. Murder charges have been withdrawn against Kenneth Law. Instead, the former chef has pleaded guilty to 14 charges of aiding and abetting suicide. He sold deadly substances online, which were used by people around the world to take their own lives. Let's bring in CTV's John Woodward. John, you were in the courtroom to hear the pleas made by Kenneth Law, and there was also some new information read out before the court. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Raheem, it was a disturbing picture laid out by prosecutors as they pointed out the facts behind dozens of deaths here in Canada and the United Kingdom, pointing out that some of them were as young as 16 years old, and Kenneth Law made $300,000 from selling those products. Outside the court in the morning, the media interest was intense as Law's OPP transport arrived at the Newmarket courthouse. Law was brought into a packed courtroom with family members of the deceased watching him stand and say, "I plead guilty," 14 times. For the 14 deaths in Ontario, that is a small subset of the people Law sent packages to in 41 countries around the world. Many were young, the packages containing a meat preservative in concentration so high it was deadly. The court heard Law's website said he didn't sell to anyone under 25, but he clearly did not enforce that rule. Prosecutors also said he received about $150,000 from PayPal and $150,000 from Shopify for his businesses. CTV News has counted about 150 deaths worldwide from these products, at least 100 in the United Kingdom. Law won't face murder charges here or in the UK, with prosecutors saying in a letter to British victims that was obtained by CTV News recently, after very careful consideration, we have decided that the harm suffered by victims in England and Wales will be included as part of Mr. Law's sentencing in Canada. This would allow the judge to reflect the full extent of Mr. Law's criminal behavior, including the fact that his actions resulted in the deaths of people around in this country and that he sent products to many others around the world. Now, this hearing is still continuing. Listing the facts of this number of dead people is taking a very long time, and the family members and we will return to the court shortly to hear that. Now, it should be said that on online forums, this product that Kenneth Law was marketing was pitched as a painless way to commit suicide, and the counts we're hearing in court today completely are the complete opposite of that. There are some who were people who were found dead, but the ones that were alive often complained of vomiting, of pain, that they didn't want to die, that they were panicking, often in the arms of their family members. Some of the ones who died were found by family members, one by a 14-year-old sister, another by a 14-year-old daughter. So we are waiting to hear a reaction from some of the family members who are still in court, and listening to these details we expect them to tell us is very hard to hear. Reporting live from the Newmarket Courthouse, I'm John Woodward. Raheem, back to you.
Thank you, John. Police are trying to identify the victim of a murder in Cabbagetown last weekend. Investigators have released this image as well as a digital restoration and approximation image. The victim is described as standing roughly 5'6" with a medium build and dark hair and eyes. They were wearing a silver necklace with a heart-shaped pendant with wings and a stone in the center, as well as a blue jacket with Vision Youth Leaders Program written on it. On May 23rd, just before 9:30 a.m., police were called for a medical complaint near Dundas and Seton Streets. The victim was found inside a private garage in a laneway and eventually pronounced dead at the scene. 30-year-old Boubacar Dembel was arrested on Monday and is charged with second-degree murder. Still to come, the country has slipped into a technical recession, according to new data from Statistics Canada. We'll have those details a little later in the newscast. But first, a new petition is calling on the province to reverse cuts made to the International Languages program in Ontario schools. The Change.org petition has more than 800 signatures. It was launched by Maria Rizzo, a Toronto Catholic District School Board trustee, who says thousands of students could lose access to the program. It comes months after the provincially appointed supervisor overseeing the board announced that weekday international language programming will be phased out in the next school year. The province says the move is part of an effort to support the TCDSB in reducing its deficit. The city is hosting its 12th annual Toronto Newcomer Day in Nathan Phillips Square. The event includes a citizenship ceremony and remarks from the mayor. Our CTV's John Musselman joins us live from Nathan Phillips Square with more. Hey, John.
Hi, Raheem. This is well underway here in the square. They're expecting thousands of people today here. We'll show you some video that we shot this morning. What Newcomer Day is all about is helping people who are new to the country get established here, either finding a doctor, transit card, a library card, all of these things that you need, housing as well. And they come here, and in one area they can find all of these people to help them. Now this is, as you mentioned, the 12th year of this event. The first time they held it, it was quite small. They're now expecting 10,000 people to take part in this event. As you mentioned, the mayor will be speaking at the bottom of the hour here to address the crowd. We did have a chance to speak to the organizer. Here's what she had to tell us just a short time ago.
We have tens of thousands of people come to Toronto every year to make it their new home, newcomers and refugees from around the world. And settlement's a very complex process. So having this one-stop shop where we can bring together city and community services, make people feel welcomed and belonged, and that they have access to all the information they need to settle, it really just creates this welcome and positive environment for folks to feel comfortable and learn what they need to learn in order to settle in Toronto.
Again, the mayor will be speaking on the main stage here at 12:30. There will also be an official ceremony, citizen ceremony, inside the city chambers at 2 o'clock. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. Raheem, back to you.
Thanks for that, John. Well, speaking of the mayor, Mayor Olivia Chow and other officials were in Etobicoke this morning, marking the opening of new amenities and facilities at Centennial Park. The upgrades include new sports hubs and recreational facilities like baseball diamonds and volleyball and pickleball courts, as well as washrooms, change rooms to support year-round programming. They've been completed as part of the Centennial Park Master Plan. It looks to revitalize one of Toronto's largest and most visited parks, which welcomed approximately 1.5 million visitors last year.
And this is just the beginning. In the coming years, the city will continue bringing new features to Centennial Park. A cricket pitch, yes. Playground and splash pads for kids, skate trails, updated chalet, and expanded community programming spaces. Taking an already wonderful park and making it a true community hub and a destination for those looking to play and enjoy the outdoors.
This is a world-class park. Its history is rooted in things like the Para Games in the 1970s, the Pan Am Games, over about a decade ago, and of course, again, on the world stage as something that makes Toronto proud as one of the FIFA facilities. I also want to make sure that I thank the community for their continued support. Change is hard. Going through much of the construction is hard, but it's been staged in a way that we continue to use our park. And I say that as ours because I visit it so often, just myself, along with my family.
Councillor Stephen Holliday mentioned the site's role in the upcoming FIFA World Cup. Part of the upgrades at Centennial Park included soccer facilities, including the building of a premium field that will be used as a training site for teams participating in the tournament.
So officials have looked at the field, and of course, during the tournament, it will be used for teams playing matches at Toronto Stadium, and they will come here to train on match day -1. According to the officials who have looked at the field, it meets all standards, in fact exceeds standards in many ways, and Toronto's practice facility, this particular training facility, has been identified as the #1 training site across the 16 host cities.
Following the tournament, the training site will be returned to the city for public use. If your weekend plans include driving or even taking transit, be prepared for a number of disruptions. Let's start with the GO lines. Construction on Lakeshore West means GO buses will service West Harbour, Aldershot, Burlington, Oakville, Clarkson, and Bramalea stations, where customers can continue east on the Kitchener line to get to Union Station. On the Barrie GO line, Metrolink says it will be shutting down service on the entire line for the whole weekend. 11 stations will be out of service, including Downsview GO, which will impact concert goers heading to Rogers Stadium to take in the final Bruno Mars show. Meanwhile, the TTC says Line 2 will be closed this weekend between Jane and Ossington stations for track work. Shuttle buses will be running instead. Runnymede, High Park, Lansdowne, and Dufferin stations will all be closed. All other stations will be open for customers to buy fares and connect with surface routes. Residents offered their thoughts on the situation.
I just have to wake up really early and use, I guess, Uber more and just plan ahead.
Yeah. Is that what you usually do, just plan ahead for all of it?
No, but I'm going to have to this weekend.
I come up with a blueprint before I leave the house, so I know the route that I'm taking. But for other people, you know, bicycle, e-bike, people walking, not a problem. People driving, you know, I think you have a better chance flying than driving.
Well, the Don Valley Parkway and a large portion of the Gardiner will also be closed on Sunday. The entire DVP will be closed in both directions starting at 2 a.m. on Sunday for the Bike for Brain Health. The Gardiner will also be closed in both directions from South Kingsway to the DVP. Both highways are expected to open by 4 p.m. Thousands of cyclists will be riding along the expressways to raise money for dementia research. We'll have more news in a moment, but first here's a live look at the islands. Well, maybe a ferry to the islands is the best way to get around the city this weekend. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison for a look at the weather. And Lindsay, no matter where you're going or how you're getting there, it's shaping up to be a beautiful Friday, at least right now.
I'm so happy to say, Raheem, that while some road closures may impact your weekend plans, the weather should not. This streak that we've been enjoying is set to continue, mainly sunny skies. And look at that, we're a little warmer today already than we got at any point yesterday. It is 23 degrees at Pearson Airport. You'll notice the areas in green, a little cooler again today, thanks in major part to the direction of these winds. Today, out of the west, we're going to tap into another northerly wind into tomorrow, which will cool us down further. The winds gusting to 40, 50 kilometers per hour right now in places. And while we remain dry in the GTA, it is worth pointing out that there have been showers today in parts of Muskoka, right now from Bobcaygeon to Peterborough over toward Belleville. But again, it's a mainly blue sky day yet again here in the GTA. We might see a bit of an increase in cloud as the afternoon goes on, but 26 degrees is our forecast daytime high. And once again, we are at an 8 or very high on the UV index. So you know what to do if you're heading outside. Take care of yourself. And we'll take a full look at your weekend weather forecast coming up. For now, though, Raheem, I'll send it back over to you.
All right. Thanks for that, Lindsay. Let's head to Ottawa now, where China's foreign minister is in the nation's capital for the first meeting of its kind in a decade. CTV's Jeremy Sharon is following the story, joins us now live from Ottawa. Jeremy, we know China's foreign minister is meeting with Minister Anita Anand about the updated Canada-China strategic partnership. What can you tell us about the meeting?
Yeah, Raheem, Wang Yi, the foreign minister for China, visiting, as you've touched on, the first time we've seen such visit in a decade, meeting today with Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand, updating that partnership, strategic partnership. That happened in January when the Prime Minister was in Beijing and signed this updated strategic partnership with China that included a number of memorandums of understanding, looking for collaboration in specific sectors when it comes to energy, when it comes to investment, when it comes to green technologies. These are all areas that Canada and China are looking to do more business economically and partner up economically, including safety and security, a certain level of collaboration between the RCMP and its counterparts in China. The point today, as it is understood, is to update and kind of check back in on any kind of progress. We also know that meeting led to the removal of tariffs, Chinese tariffs on canola products and seafood products, in exchange for Canada allowing a certain number, 50,000 Chinese EVs into the Canadian market at a reduced tariff rate, significantly reduced tariff rate. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand made brief remarks earlier today when that meeting started. Here's what Foreign Affairs Minister Anand had to say.
We are committed to growing this relationship responsibly with a goal of increasing exports to China by 50% by 2030, while safeguarding Canada's economic and national security interests and values. Canada, in conclusion, is committed to deepening engagement with China in key areas. Of course, there is more work ahead. We have momentum to continue this work together.
Now, this visit, of course, Raheem, doesn't come without criticism or pushback. There are protesters on Parliament Hill behind me today protesting the foreign minister's visit and would like to see Canada change course on that safety and security partnership and be more forthcoming or be a little more assertive when it comes to China's human rights record and areas where Canada and China clearly have differences. So a visit that is an important one in this strategic partnership partnership, but certainly is facing some criticism, as many are warning about the concerns about doing more business with China, Raheem.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that public sentiment is often mixed when we talk about the relationship between Canada and China. Let's talk about the Prime Minister. You know, Mark Carney has refused to release details about a security agreement with China. What are the concerns?
Yeah, look, we don't know much. We know that, you know, there's this safety and security partnership that is part of the strategic partnership that was announced in January, and Canadians, many are calling for more information to be released. So far, the government has not released the details of that partnership, other than the RCMP will be collaborating and sharing, you know, information in some capacity with its Chinese counterpart. There are concerns about that, about Canada collaborating with China on that kind of front, given issues of transnational repression that have been raised for a long time here in Canada, foreign interference concerns, and of course the ongoing issue in Taiwan. It was not long ago that the ambassador, Chinese ambassador to Canada, made comments in an interview with the Globe and Mail, basically saying that if Canada wants to continue in this path of bettering a relationship with China, it should stop sending officials to Taiwan, and it should stop sending ships through the waterway between Taiwan and China. That was seen by many as you know, a comment trying to direct politicians here to be able to do or not do something. Michael Chong, a Conservative MP, just recently in protest visited Taiwan. So these are the kinds of concerns, Raheem, that Canadians are bringing up, that protesters like the ones that are on Parliament Hill today are raising, as Canada looks to you know, thaw this relationship that had been so tense for so long with China, you know, take advantage of what is a massive economy. But there are questions about whether or not the Prime Minister and his government can do two things at once here, hold them to account on some of those things while still trying to better relationships where it does benefit Canada.
A lot of moving parts. Jeremy Sharon in Ottawa, thanks for laying it out for us.
Yeah, anytime, Raheem.
Let's now move to an exclusive CTV News investigation. W5 has uncovered another case of airport bag tag switching. A Canadian woman was jailed in the Philippines, accused of smuggling illegal drugs in a suitcase that wasn't even hers. As W5 Avery Haynes reports, there have been 17 Canadian cases of bag tag switching in the past year, and now victims are demanding compensation.
The blurred woman in these photos at Manila International Airport is a 66-year-old Canadian. She's pleading, "That's not our luggage, that's not our bag." Inside, 24 kilos, more than 50 pounds of meth, a bust that made headlines across the Philippines.
They broadcast it nationwide. They already ruined me. They already humiliated me.
Surrounded by the paperwork that represents her nightmare, Grace reveals the heavy price she paid after someone switched her luggage tag onto a bag of drugs.
I was in jail for 24 days. We had to sleep on the floor. You can see cockroaches. All I can do is just pray.
Grace's Cathay Pacific flight last summer started in Toronto with a connection in Hong Kong and a final destination of Manila. Despite 24 harrowing days in jail and tens of thousands in legal bills, Grace says Cathay Pacific has taken no financial responsibility, not even for the return flight to Toronto, which she missed because she was in jail.
They kept on denying liability.
Other innocent passengers have reached out with similar horror stories. A Toronto man traveling with his wife and 11-year-old son last February on Air Transat arrested in Cancun, accused of smuggling 28 kilos of cartel cocaine. Detained for 48 hours in Mexico with thousands in legal fees, Air Transat denies any legal liability. A Toronto woman detained at Narita Airport in Japan with 21 kilos of meth last summer. She writes, "The trauma and fright I experienced was huge. At the age of 70, the fear was extraordinary." Every bag tag victim we've interviewed says the airline they trusted their luggage to has refused to take responsibility. Nicole was arrested on a WestJet flight to New Zealand with more than 20 kilos of meth.
WestJet basically said, "Oh, we're sorry for the inconvenience." I said, "I don't think we have the same definition of inconvenience."
Jan and Charlene detained on an Air Canada flight to Germany with 33 kilos of marijuana.
customers are the ones buying tickets to fly, right? So, I mean, I would have hoped that they would have shown a little bit of concern for us.
So who bears responsibility for luggage after check-in? In a statement, Air Canada says checked baggage moves through a complex network of various third parties, and that in the rare event of tampering, liability will be determined based on the circumstances. Cathay Pacific, the airline Grace flew, didn't respond to our emails.
I suffered mentally, emotionally, physically, and even financially. Who will pay for that?
Avery Haynes, CTV News, Toronto.
Canada's economy has slipped into a technical recession, according to new data from Statistics Canada. The new numbers show economic growth stalled in the first quarter, and Canada's real gross domestic product was slightly negative on an annualized basis. StatsCan is blaming higher imports of gold and a weak month for Canada's resource extraction industries in March for dragging down recent economic activity. Real GDP has now declined for 2 straight quarters, which meets the definition of a technical recession. Meanwhile, the Trump administration reportedly wants North American-built vehicles to be at least 50% made in the U.S., and there would be no provision for requiring any content from Canada. The proposal was introduced during this week's negotiations in Mexico City over revisions to CUSMA. Canada is not represented at the talks. The Americans are seeking an overall increase of the regional content level of vehicles to 82% to qualify for preferential treatment under the trade deal. The threshold is 75%. In Ottawa, Canada's outgoing Governor General was honored this morning by the Prime Minister for her service.
Mary Simon has taken on enormous challenges and approached them with wisdom, determination, and an unwavering commitment to her people and public service. Your Excellency, you've reminded us that reconciliation is a responsibility to be lived day after day in how we listen, how we learn, and how we act. And throughout your lifetime of service, you've embodied the responsibility with that wisdom, compassion, and unwavering purpose.
When we heal from a trauma or from any kind of mental health illness, it could be serious, it could be minor, you know, anything can happen in our lives. And we need to feel that the person that is helping us to heal understands who we are, where we come from, and what our culture is. And it's not just Inuit, but it's all cultures.
The Prime Minister announced a new project he says will carry on the work so close to the Governor General's heart. The Mary Simon Catalyst for Mental Wellness will provide counseling, culturally grounded services, and peer-led mental health care to Northern and Indigenous communities. In Washington, Donald Trump is holding a White House Situation Room meeting right now with his advisors. The U.S. president says he is looking to make a final determination on moving forward with a deal to extend the Iran ceasefire. Yesterday, it was reported that American and Iranian negotiators had come to terms on a tentative agreement. The deal would extend the fragile ceasefire by 60 days and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. During that time, new talks would be held on Tehran's disputed nuclear program. A rocket belonging to billionaire Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin space technology company exploded during a test in Florida today. The company says its New Glenn rocket blew up during an engine firing test being conducted ahead of a satellite launch planned for next week. No injuries have been reported, according to officials at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The New Glenn rocket was previously grounded after it left a satellite in the wrong orbit due to engine failure. Lindsay.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. Bit of an extra Friday feel when the weather is as nice as it is today here at home. And this evening's looking good, too. Perhaps you're thinking of hitting up a patio to kick off the weekend. Might need a sweater by the time the sun sets, but ahead of that, expect sunshine and temperatures that are comfortable for this time of year. Your weekend forecast does bring a bit of a cool down on Saturday. There will be plenty of sun, though. Slightly warmer on Sunday with a little more in the way of cloud. A reminder, though, this This is the last weekend of May. June is on Monday, and with that, the beginning of meteorological summer. How's the forecast looking for the first few days of the new month and the new season? We'll take a look at your 7-day forecast after the break.
No pressure. There we go. What does accessibility mean to you? Well, that's a great question. If you ask 10 different people, you're gonna get 10 different answers. That's a great thing about having a conversation about accessibility. Let's ask people their opinion. I got the rebound.
What does accessibility mean to you?
Every person being and feeling wholeheartedly welcomed.
Everybody working together as one big team.
What does accessibility mean to you?
It means being intentional and thoughtful about things like our building design or even our program structure, like the way we do things here at Ability Center.
Accessibility to me means being able to navigate under your own terms, complete the things that you want to in ways that are meaningful to you, and just really get out into your community and give back.
Accessibility means equal opportunity for family members like my sister Jacqueline to have ease of access of goods and services just like everybody else.
Accessibility means to me having the mindset of intentional inclusion and meaningful participation and really and truly meeting everyone and anyone where they're at.
It means being as open as you can be and being accessible to everyone's needs.
What does accessibility mean to you?
Equal opportunity for everybody.
Access, I guess, to a facility like this that is so fantastic for us.
It gives me the ability to live an independent life, and as a wheelchair basketball coach, it gives my players a sense of belonging as well.
Accessibility is
belongingness.
Pivotal.
Everybody, not just one person.
Connection.
All season, all weather.
Accessibility is
adaptable.
Complete the sentence. Accessibility is
everything.
A mindset.
Acceptance.
Accessibility is
inclusion.
Inclusion.
Accessibility is Ability Center.
Accessibility isn't one thing, it's many. It's how we show up. It's how we welcome everybody. It's how we think of others. Being curious. That's how the conversation of inclusivity starts. The Sickle Cell Awareness Group of Ontario will be hosting its 21st anniversary Hope Gala and Awards next month. For a preview of the event, we're joined live by Mrs. Lana Ray Tunji Ajayi, President and CEO of the Sickle Cell Awareness Group of Ontario. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with this. If you could, shed some light on some of the current gaps and challenges which are facing individuals living with sickle cell disease in Canada.
So thank you so much for that question. So the major gaps and challenge that people with sickle cell disease continue to face is in timely access to care and treatment. Many of our patients experience stigma, discrimination, and anti-Black racism. Yes, while it's not only Black people that have sickle cell, majority of the people that have sickle cell identify as Black, and so they also experience anti-Black racism when they interact with the health systems in the country. So, and that kind of affects when they get their payments, if they show up for, excruciating pain crisis, and also when they are admitted, also the quality of care that they received in the healthcare system.
So Lana Ray, how has your group helped improve that quality of life for individuals and families who have been affected by sickle cell disease?
Thank you. for that question. So it's through advocacy. We believe that, number one, we need to ensure that many of our patients are not ending up in emergency department, and that they have access to comprehensive care. So we advocated with the Ministry of Health to provide funding to ensure that centers and hospitals are staffed appropriately. We developed documents that actually help the ministry to understand the ratio, the appropriate ratio of patient to clinicians, to ensure that patients get, the right care and they're not being delayed and being in pain. As you might know, sickle cell pain has been compared to terminal cancer pain. And so having the resources to have comprehensive care program for people that have sickle cell disease, this is very important. We're very grateful to the Ministry of Health, Ontario. They listened, and we have more staffing in our centers. We have more comprehensive care centers that are established. So that is one way that we have tackled this program. Another way is also to educate the healthcare providers. So SCAGO, Sickle Cell Awareness Group of Ontario, developed online modules for healthcare providers for them to refresh their knowledge, and for those who want to learn more about sickle cell so that they can provide timely and appropriate quality care for patients are able to do so. We also supported Ontario Health with the quality standards that they've created to ensure that clinicians that are taking care of patients in Ontario have access to quality standards statements that will help them ensure that patients, regardless of if they, their, ethnic background, are able to access quality care in Ontario. And that we hope will also be replicated across the country. Thank you.
I'm sure a lot of people watching right now are thinking, how can I support? Let's talk about the gala. So the upcoming Hope Gala and awards are taking place June 13th. How can people participate?
First of all, I want to say that I want to give a big shout out to media. Media has always been helping us to raise awareness of the event and also of the programs that we do. Nathan Downer is getting an award this year, and we're so very much looking forward to honoring him for his years of working to support the cause. People who want to attend the event can go to our website, www.sicklecellanemia.ca, and they can purchase tickets. You can tell somebody about it. We still have tickets sales ongoing until June 10. So we ask folks in the community, hurry up, get your ticket, and be a part of the day.
Once again, it's taking place on June 13th. Lana Ray, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Well, as Lana Ray said, Nathan Downer, we like him too.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good guy.
We're pretty proud of him.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing great work. Let's talk about the weather. It's been a great day so far today, and it's shaping up to be a beautiful weekend.
I mean, what a week we've had. And reflecting back on last weekend, it was a bit of a mess out there. It was very wet, very rainy, very windy. This weekend, you can go ahead with your outdoor plans. No fears of cancellation or having to move anything indoors. It's going to be a little cooler tomorrow. That's perhaps the downside for some, but overall, I think it's looking good for your plans the next several days beyond the weekend too. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. Perhaps you might find it a little cooler in Ontario if you've been spending some time in the Canadian prairies this week. This is what Winnipeg looked like yesterday as the temperature soared into the 30s, and it's going to be another very similar day today. So take a look at the widespread heat warnings that are in place across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. We've got some orange level alerts in place too when it comes to those heat warnings, so this is of great concern. There's Winnipeg. Let's check out the current temperature. Already 30 degrees, and it's still technically morning in southern Manitoba. We're at 23 degrees right now in southern Ontario, Toronto specifically, Pearson Airport. If we're going to zoom right in there, you'll find teen temperatures in many areas still at this hour. But as the afternoon goes on, we get a little more daytime heating. Just about everyone should climb into the 20s and be near seasonal or slightly above for this afternoon. We've got sunshine locally here in the GTA. I'll show you the satellite and radar again in just a moment for communities east of here. But through the night tonight, we expect a few clouds, an overnight low of 9 degrees, so slipping into single-digit territory. And then tomorrow is a slightly cooler day. We're going to be influenced by more of a northerly wind. Mainly sunny skies, though. Beautiful sunshine, in fact, for your Saturday. Sunday, it's possible that we'll see a little more cloud, especially for areas east of the GTA once again. And that's where we find a bit of wet weather. We've been talking about how dry it is in and around the Greater Toronto area, but not the case everywhere. It's been quite unsettled around Ottawa the last day or so, too. There's a low-pressure system spinning off southern Quebec, but again, we remain quiet here in this part of Ontario. Simply setting the forecast radar in motion, you're not going to see a whole lot of action here. Saturday, clear skies. I am going to pause this as we make our way into Sunday afternoon, so you can see that it is mainly east of the GTA, over toward Kingston, perhaps a few showers, cloud cover extending back perhaps into parts of Muskoka, and then waking up on Monday morning. Should be another sunny day as we officially welcome the month of June. If you're heading to the cottage or a campground this weekend, here's a look at what you can expect. Heads up for the Kawarthas on Sunday. Once again, you have an elevated chance of a shower and perhaps a little more cloud cover. But again, it's looking pretty dry here in Toronto, not just for the weekend, but over the next 7 days. And the early days of June look to bring us seasonal temperatures and mainly sunny skies. Those overnight lows are going to be quite comfortable as well. Pretty good looking 7-day forecast once again. That's your look at the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Still to come, Canada is set to reveal its FIFA World Cup roster tonight. We'll have more on who can make the cut when we come back. The Blue Jays will be looking for a 4th straight win tonight when they continue their series with the Baltimore Orioles.
And this one is hit in the air to deep right field. It is on its way to the seats and gone.
Andre Jimenez gave the Jays the lead in the 3rd inning with a solo homer last night. The team would hold on to win the game 2-1. First pitch for tonight's game is set for just after 7 p.m. in Baltimore, and the Canadian Adam Macko set to start for Toronto. Well, we're almost there. Just 2 weeks to go until the World Cup, and Team Canada is taking shape and hoping for the return of some key players lost to injury. One of them is star defender Moise Bombito. He says he's 100% ready to go, and CTV's chief anchor and senior editor Omar Sachedina has more on how he outran adversity on and off the pitch.
Fast, aggressive, and powerful. Moise Bombito is one of Canada's fastest rising soccer stars. Pushed into the game as a young boy in Montreal by parents who wanted to focus their overly energetic son.
I was breaking everything. I was running everywhere.
So they were just trying to exhaust you, basically.
Exactly.
Instead, it ignited a new passion Bombito showcased to the world at the 2024 Copa America, where he took on the challenging task of defending one of the greatest players of all time in Canada's opening match against Argentina.
What's it like to defend against Messi?
It's a nightmare. Because, you know, when he gets the ball, that's when everything can happen. He's analyzing, he's looking, scanning everything that's surrounding him. And as soon as he gets the ball, then the magic happens because he already pictured everything.
And a giveaway. Bombito's second half tackle of the Argentine captain drew racist abuse and attacks on social media. But it was his responses of resolve after that drew even wider support, which surged even higher after this moment. Bombito! When he stepped up and calmly put away a penalty during the quarterfinal shootout against Venezuela.
Bombito is in pain, real concern.
But perhaps his test was breaking his leg in a match for his French club Nice last October.
It made me think, and it just made me feel grateful for what I had in general, just in terms of being able to go to the bathroom and do what I have to do there, take a shower by myself, and just being on my own, feeling like, I'm free. But when you're injured, it's a total, like you're dependable.
He was sidelined for months to focus on his recovery. Along the way, the boy who couldn't sit still also picked up another talent off the pitch.
Who's your favorite composer?
I can play Una Mattina, Ludovico Einaudi.
Okay.
I play Van Gogh.
Okay.
I forgot who the artist is. I play Je te laisserai des mots, Patrick Watson.
I love one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, so great.
Also great, he says, being at the World Cup.
Your own personal families from Kinshasa. From Kinshasa, now playing for Canada in a few months' time. What will that experience be like to play on home soil for this country?
It's a great feeling, just because my mom, she sacrificed a lot just to come into Canada, a country that welcomed her as she was one of their own, I feel like it's a great feeling, proud feeling, and I just can't wait to do so in a great way.
Omar Sechedina, CTV News, Toronto.
And Canada is set to unveil its World Cup roster this evening. Head coach Jesse Marsh invited 32 players to a training camp in North Carolina this week and plans to narrow that group to 26 tonight. Captain Alphonso Davies is expected to be on the roster despite missing camp as he recovers from a hamstring injury. Canada will kick off the tournament against Bosnia and Herzegovina in Toronto on June 12th. The expanded 48-team tournament will see 104 games staged across Canada, the U.S. and Mexico, and you can watch the roster announcement tonight at 7 on TSN. Still to come, more than 50,000 Canada Post workers have until tomorrow to vote on whether or not to accept a new 5-year contract. We'll have those details when we come back.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
We have breaking news. Toronto police say they have concluded their investigation following the return of a missing 14-year-old girl. The teen was found in Rexdale yesterday afternoon after going missing on May 16th. Police announced this hour that the investigation has been concluded and no charges have been laid. More than 50,000 Canada Post workers have until tomorrow to vote on whether or not to accept a new 5-year contract. The labor unrest has dragged on for over 2 years, with workers taking to the picket line several times over a lack of progress. The Canada Union of Postal Workers has asked its members to turn down the latest offer. A tentative deal was reached late last year, which included wage increases. Canada Post says it has lost over $5 billion since 2018 and will eventually be ending most door-to-door deliveries. You're watching CTV News at noon. Stay with us. Welcome back. There are many film festivals here in the city, and this weekend, if you feel like taking a drive, there is one taking place at Blue Mountain. CTV's Andrea Case reports.
For 5 years, the Blue Mountain Film and Media Festival has lured people from the city to the town of the Blue Mountains near Collingwood. And fresh off his 17th trip covering the Cannes Film Festival, film critic Jason Gorber is back at the helm of the scenic event.
I want to celebrate cinema. The greatest thing, the whole reason to be a film critic, to be somebody who talks about movies, is to share one's love, one's passion with films. And so being given an opportunity to basically program like a playlist, to actually showcase some of the world's best films to audiences both in the region, those that actually live up and around Blue Mountain, but the many people that come from Toronto from all over the place to actually attend. We're showing some of the best films in the world. 33 films from 16 different countries, a number of Canadian premieres. We have documentaries, we have fiction films, we're doing outdoor screens, we have local premieres from some local filmmakers, but we have some astonishing Canadian works, and we have, again, stuff from all over the planet.
Gorber says the festival takes over 2 main theaters and promises great sound and picture, and outdoor screenings with question and answer sessions with filmmakers.
I want to treat every film like an event. It has never been easier to stay on your couch and just watch movies that way. And so the fundamental point for me is to actually make it special. Make sure the projection is extraordinary. We have some of the best in the world actually helping us with projection.
The Blue Mountain Film and Media Festival runs until Sunday. Andrea Case, CTV News.
Sounds like a great event. And how about the shot behind us, eh? Blue water, we got some ferries and sailboats. Great day to be outside.
It looks and feels like summer today, Raheem. Sorry about that earlier. Let's take one more look at our weather conditions for the afternoon. A little cool, in fact, so maybe not feeling exactly like the middle of summer, but starting to feel more like the early part of the season. There's a little bit of shower activity in eastern Ontario. We should be dry tonight here in the GTA. Overnight low, 9 degrees. And then here's tomorrow. Slightly cooler day, slightly cooler than average, 19 degrees. But with all that sunshine, you may not notice the cooler conditions. The winds will be out of the northeast tomorrow at around 40 kilometers per hour. They'll be a little stronger into the night tonight. There's a look at the forecast highs right across the board. It's going to be a nice weekend overall. We are looking at sunny skies and temperatures near normal, certainly back into the 20s by Sunday. And then next week, once again, looking like a 10 out of 10 forecast. We're going to start to miss, I think, a little bit of the rain soon, though, Raheem. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, I agree. Sun is nice, but we need a little bit of that precipitation. Yes. That is CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca. For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Raheem Ladani, and be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.